Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar today. As you all are aware, today we are celebrating International Yoga Day. And at the outset, let me thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, who has, amidst his busy schedule, has agreed to address on this occasion. I also would like to thank our Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Narayan Rao, sir, who has joined us on this occasion. Not to forget, I also like to thank the speakers today, Dr. Tirupati Rao, Harshada, and Mr. Srinivas Rao. And now I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Venkat Nori to take it further. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, one and all. Today, as we all know, that we are celebrating International Yoga Day, and so on this occasion, we have invited 3 people from the Heartfulness Institute, and so on this day, we are going to celebrate it by listening to some of the wise teachings of Patanjali, and then we'll have some exercises. Mostly it will be pranayama based, and then we have, so it's a practical and a theory session today, and then followed up by relaxation and meditation. So let us all start. So I invite Professor V.S. Rao, Vice Chancellor of SRM AP University, to welcome the audience.
So thank you, Dr. Nori, and also I must thank you, Dr. Revati, for giving me this opportunity. That you need not thank me. So it is certainly not a busy schedule. For yoga, you have to take time. First of all, respected Professor Narayan Rao Garu, Pro Vice Chancellor of SRM University AP, Dr. K. Tirupati Rao Garu, Mr. C.H. Srinivas Rao Garu, and Mrs. Harshada, trainers from Heartfulness Institute. I must thank Mrs. Harshada Kulakarni, whom I've known for the last maybe 2 to 3 years, and for introducing me to Heartfulness Institute, rather initiating for the first time to meditation. So today we are celebrating the International Yoga Day. I'm told the theme is Yoga for the well-being. Dr. Nori?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This International Yoga Day.
Yes, sir.
I think it is very appropriate for the time through which we are passing. So it is now a way of life. Of course, it has always been a way of life for several centuries. We are indeed proud. Like many other things, India has given to the world a great gift. And that is why today world is celebrating International Yoga Day. They have recognized the importance of yoga, not only for physical fitness, not only for mental wellness, for the overall well-being. It has been accepted by all. It brings in discipline. I remember way back in BITS Pilani, maybe when I was a student in the year 1972, there was a yoga teacher who was a superintendent in one of our offices, student welfare office. He was so lean and thin. He was so disciplined, not only about doing yoga every day, preaching yoga to all students, teachers, practicing yoga with dietary restrictions until his death maybe at the age of 85, 90, he maintained the same physique, same mental health. But unfortunately, what I have noticed during those days is not many people were taking it seriously. Students, faculty, there were hardly few people who were practicing yoga, which he was doing voluntarily. But later on, people realized the importance of yoga in everyday life. Now, many institutions, including BITS Pilani, has introduced the yoga and meditation courses for credit in the curriculum. And years later, I think in the national this thing also, educational policies, there has been sufficient emphasis on yoga. Apart from this, I used to observe the seriousness about yoga in Western countries when I was in Germany in late 90s or later in US. People seriously studying, reading yoga books, discussing yoga, practicing yoga, and many people there before now we have instructors, yoga instructors, either in the institutes or coming to the residences and conducting classes. So in US, I have seen many yoga instructors doing it in their gymnasiums or going to the residences with all seriousness. So today I'm very happy to note that it has been universally accepted everywhere, not only in India, even outside India. It is a time now. I have been also discussing with Dr. Venkat Nori and his group as to how to integrate this yoga and meditation into the curriculum. So with these words, I would like to thank the organizers of the International Yoga Day, Dr. Venkat Nori and his team, Mrs. Revati, for giving me an excellent opportunity to share a few words with all of you and also participate, I think, in the yoga exercises that you are going to preach. So I must also thank the guests, Dr. Tirupati Rao Garu, Mrs. Srinivasa Rao, and Mrs. Harshada, for taking time out of their busy schedule to participate in this International Yoga Day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words and welcome address. Now we'll ask Dr. Tirupati Rao Garu to deliver his address. Before that, just a brief introduction about him. So, Dr. Tirupati Rao Garu is associated with Heartfulness Meditation for the past 20 plus years, and by his sincere practice, he has even become a Heartfulness trainer, and by his and he's also the center coordinator for Vijayawada Center. And so I request Dr. Tirupati Rao Garu to deliver his address. Thank you.
Venkat, thank you, Venkat.
Yes.
Is there any facility to share my PPT?
Yeah, I think the host can give you.
Yeah.
Sir, they can share this screen, sir.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
No.
Is it not visible?
No.
Not yet.
One second.
Yeah.
No,
Right, it's
sir.
coming.
Yeah,
Yes.
now it has come.
Yeah. Respected elders and my dear students, a very good evening to all of you. I'm very happy to be here with you all on this yoga day today. So today we will see, because it is a very in-depth subject, it will take a lot of time, but I will try to give you some basic definitions and what is actually yoga means. So I will try to cover only basic aspects of yoga and different components of this yoga. Okay. So you see, you know that every one of us, in fact, every person in this world is craving for peace and happiness, right? Our ultimate goal is to achieve happiness. Of course, yoga is a buzzword and magical word that promises individual joy, peace, and prosperity, right? Strictly speaking, this yoga is all about oneness. Or somebody says it is union or integration. So it is the integration of our inner and outer states of being. In other way, we can think of the union occurring between body, mind, and a spirit. Okay, that is what yoga. What yoga is all about: integrating our body, mind, and spirit or soul. Okay. Now you see the various benefits or advantages or uses by practicing yoga. So by practicing yoga sincerely, it will improve our physical fitness. It will also improve our health and well-being. We will learn how to relax. So because of that, we can manage our stress in a better way, because in today's world, every one of us feeling a lot of stress, especially students, they are feeling stress, exam stress and all. Okay, so this yoga will help us to relax. So automatically we can manage stress in a better way. Okay, and also it will help us to become peaceful. And by practicing yoga, you will become so happy and you will derive contentment. Okay, and also you see the yoga will help our flexibility. It will improve to you will become more flexible. Sometimes you see you are so rigid, you don't accept others' feelings or you don't accept others' opinions. So, but practicing yoga, you become more flexible. So you will acquire the ability to accept everything. Okay, and if it is right, you can in a position to take it. And not only that, it will give you more self-awareness. So it will help us to awaken our intellectual. So intellectual awakening is also happens because of this yoga. So there are few advantages or benefits we can derive by practicing yoga sincerely. Okay. Now we will see the history. You see, so thousands of years ago, a great sage called Patanjali Maharshi, he summarized the whole philosophy and practice of yoga into 196 Yoga Sutras. Okay, so he developed a beautiful framework which consists of 8 limbs or 8 components. Okay, so they are yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So we used to call it as Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, so these 8 limbs are designed to help us to turn every aspects of ourselves inward. So that is very important. We will turn our attention inward. Okay, so that we can journey to the center of our universe. Okay, so that is the whole philosophy of yoga. It is all about traveling within, okay. And one more important point is today, so many of us are under impression that yoga is all about asanas. Of course, asana is one of the component. It is a physical activity. By practicing asana, our physical health will be improved. But in reality, yoga goes beyond that. Okay, yoga goes beyond physical activity. So the most important thing to remember is that Ashtanga Yoga is a complete, you can call it as a complete package. And majority of its components are concerned with the mental as well as spiritual well-being, not only physical activity. Okay, but of course you can start anywhere at any point, but you have to put your heart to derive complete benefit out of it, right? So remember, these are the various elements or limbs in Ashtanga Yoga: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Sama. Okay. Now, if you see the first 5 of these 8 limbs, that is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, these are about practices which are focused on the removing our mental deviations. Normally we are facing with these mental deviations, complexities and impurities. So including subtle thoughts. So we have to remove all those. So the first 5 limbs will focus on that. Of course, the last 3, that is Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi, are at higher level. So these are all about experiences, and these focuses on liberation and higher discrimination. Okay, so in this way we can say that we can differentiate these 8 limbs. Okay, so first 5 are a basic level which will help us to remove mental deviations and complexities, and other 3, last 3 are at higher level which will help us to go for higher dimensions. Okay, so first we will see the important first limb, that is Yama. So you know that yoga is already told you, it is union or integration of our inner and outer states of being. Now think, is it possible to be saintly inside when we are greedy, arrogant or angry in behavior? Is it possible? The answer is no, right? Our outside behavior is so angry and we are greedy and we are so arrogant, but inside, is it possible to be like a saint? Is no. It is all, there is a difference between inside and outside. Okay, so that is what the lack of integrity. So that lack of integrity or that lack of integration is not not natural. This is not natural. Okay, so if you maintain this, it will lead to personal disorders. Strictly speaking, it is the opposite to the holistic. So if we are going to embark on the spiritual journey, our character must go with us. Okay, so Yama is all about, this first element, the Yama is all about refining behavior by removing unwanted habits. So these are 5 commandments. Of course, these 5 commandments are given for social discipline. If one practices these 5 commandments, the society is at peace. Okay. So if every citizen practices this, the society is at peace. So if you see this, the first one is ahimsa, that is non-violence. Okay, and satya, asteya, aparigraha, brahmacharya. So these are the 5 elements of this first limb, that is Yama. So if you come to the first one, ahimsa, it is related to non-violence, right? So first of all, you have to develop love within yourselves. If your heart is filled with love, then there is no concept of violence. Okay. So of course, this love should be selfless, and this is unconditional. You have to develop this love selflessly, unconditionally, and joyfully. Okay. So this is the essence of ahimsa. Okay. So the most important thing is you have to develop love within you. Then next one is satya, that is truthfulness. So whatever we do, try to be genuine, try to be original and authentic, and say what you mean and mean what you say. You should not have any hidden agendas or no mass. Okay. Of course, if you practice this truthfulness, there is a childlike innocence and purity and simplicity are there in truthfulness. So you have to imbibe all these qualities. The next one is asteya, that is non-stealing. The practice of asteya, so it will demand the one must not steal. You should not steal anything. Okay. Even you should not have an intent of stealing another's property through your actions or through your speech or even through your thoughts also. You should not have even have thought of stealing others' property. So we have to practice that. Okay. Then aparigraha, which is related to non-possessiveness. Okay. So non-possessiveness, of course, it is the culmination of the other four, that is love, truthfulness, honesty, and moderation. Okay, for example, you are in a great position. Okay, and if you are in that impression that you are great, okay, that leads to ego. So you should not have that impression you are a great person and you are serving so many people or you are giving so much money to others. You should not feel like that. You should not have that feeling within you. That is what non-possessiveness. Without that feeling, you have to serve. Okay. And next one is brahmacharya. Regarding brahmacharya, it is all about right use of energy. So this right use of energy leads us to consider how we actually use and direct our energies. Okay. In fact, brahmacharya evokes a sense of direction to our energy and away from external desires and pleasures. Okay. So it is all about away from external desires and pleasures. Okay. But of course, many of us understood this brahmacharya very narrowly, but it is all about using our energies in a right direction. Okay. So these are all 5 commandments in this first limb. Next we go to the second limb, that is niyama. It is also having this 5. Of course, yama is not sufficient for right living. The other side of the coin is the cultivation of nobility of character through this positive duties and inner observance. Okay. You see, you remember that whenever we go high, okay, the more discipline we need. Okay. And the more joy we need, so that it is willing and loving discipline. So you have to love the discipline, willingly you have to follow the discipline. Then only you will enjoy the benefits. Okay. So remember that whenever we go high, we have to develop discipline. So as a result of this, of course, these 5 niyamas, the mind will not wander in any direction. Okay. As beautifully explained Swami Vivekananda, by practicing this, there will be only one focus, and that is the inner goal. You know, every one of us are having different goals. Okay. So maybe materialistically and in this physical world or spiritually, we have different goals. Okay. So maybe it is related to our job, it is related to our position in the society, or it may be related to spiritual goal, like knowing God, everything. So every one of us having goal. So by practicing these niyamas, sincerely, so the goal will be in your vision, whatever it may be. Okay. Of course, the concentration will be the natural outcome of these niyamas. So if you see the first one, okay, shaucha, it refers to cleanliness. Okay, it refers to the purity, cleanliness, and clearness of mind, speech, and body. So that is what shaucha have to practice. Then second one is contentment or santosha. Okay, santosha. It is of course this is second aspect of niyam. Normally, what is that most of us want in life? Of course, happiness and contentment. Okay. The state of this contentment allows us to accept whatever situation we may be in. It may be difficulties, or it may be sorrow, or it may be happiness. Whatever it may be, we can accept. So if you are in a state of contentment, we can accept whatever you. Okay, whether it is good or bad, we remain grateful to the God. Okay, so but you see, happiness is proportional to our desires. Okay, see the equation I have given on the slide. The happiness is number of desires fulfilled by total number of desires. Okay, now you see, even though we have so much money, a very good relationship with others, a good family, okay, still sometimes we may not be happy, we may not be content. Why? Why? Because happiness is all about inner feeling. Okay, it is all about, we have to find our happiness within. Okay, so it is all about how many number of desires you have and how many number of desires you fulfill. If you minimize total number of desires, automatically you will be so happy and so contented. Okay. Now, next component of this niyam is tapas. So this tapas is all about a burning desire. Okay. So you have the goal, and you have to achieve that goal. To achieve that goal, you need to go for tapas, that is burning desire. So tapasya brings this discipline, love, and enthusiasm, and of course burning desire to reach the spiritual goal. Okay, so next component is swadhyaya. So swa plus adhyaya, that means self-study. Okay, so the self-study includes and requires for self-observation and self-analysis in the journey of reaching the goal. Of course, swadhyaya also includes the reading and study of sacred literature. These texts provide a reference point for our own inner journey. So we know where we are by reading the literature in the process, in the path of progress. We know where we are. Okay, so that we will get so clarity. Of course, next item is Ishvara Pranidhana. Okay, Ishvara Pranidhana is all about surrendering. We are surrendering to higher self, and of course we have to work without selfish motives and work not for praise, right? So in the process, you see, sometimes if you work for selfish motives and if you work for praise, that ego will develop within us. Okay, when ego will develop, that is the greatest obstacle in our progress. So we have to avoid that ego from us. So if Ishvara Pranidhana is the right way, so what we do is we will surrender to our higher self or to the God. Whatever we do, we are doing because of Him. That is how we develop the quality within us. Okay, it will help us a lot to be away from ego. Okay. So the next important aspect that everybody they thinking that is asana. This is third component of or third limb of this Ashtanga Yoga. that is asana, is all related to body postures or poses. Okay. So if you see, as per Patanjali Maharshi, Sthira Sukham Asanam. Sthira means steady and stable. Sukham means comfortable and relaxed. Asanam means postures or sitting positions. Right? So that sitting position, which is already, which is steady and comfortable is asana. Sitting position, which is steady and comfortable is asana. Okay. So of course, this Siddhasana or Padmasana is a good one for practicing meditation and yoga. Asana is the physical exercises. Okay. There are postures practiced in yoga. These are different postures, of course, practiced in yoga. Okay. The result is a strong and healthy body. Okay, which is very much essential for spiritual growth. Okay, because of this asana, our body health is very good, which is very much essential. Okay, this is all about asanas. Next, we go to pranayama. Okay, so this pranayama is all about controlling of our vital energy of the body. Okay, this is a simple breathing techniques. So pranayama is all about simple breathing techniques that are associated with yoga. To be frank, it is the prana. You see, prana is the basic element by which we breathe, by which our blood circulates, our nervous system and muscles work. So this prana should be controlled in a well-designed manner. So for that, we need to practice this pranayama. So you see the various benefits of practicing pranayama. You see, it will calm the body and mind. It will aid the digestion. It relieves stress, induces sleep, and it will build the lung capacity. So these are the various advantages of practicing pranayama. So next one is pratyahara. So this pratyahara is the preparation for meditation. It is also known as withdrawing the mind from the senses. It is all about withdrawing, okay, from the senses. I have given different senses in the diagram, okay. Taste, size, sight, touch, hearing. So all these are different senses from which through them we are taking input to into our body. Okay. So slowly we have to withdraw them. So next one is dharana. So dharana is all about focusing on one object. Okay, focusing on one object. Object may be anything. It may be your goal. Okay, so it is all about to concentrate. Okay, it is all about holding the mind on one object for a specified time. Okay, while focusing on one object, normally we quietening our mind. Okay. So next important aspect is dhyana, which is also known as meditation. Okay. You see, this dharana is all about focusing. Dhyana is like feeling. So you are trying to focus on your goal, right? When you are focusing on goal, after some time you feel what is your goal. Okay, then this feeling will become your experience. Okay, and after some time you will become the goal. You will become the goal, right? So actually in the dharana we use it to think. Okay, the thinking will lead to feeling, and that feeling will eventually leads to becoming. So in dhyana we will feel and we will experience. Okay, experience our ultimate goal. Okay, that is, of course, it may be self-realization or it may be any goal you set for your progress. Okay, of course, the heartfulness introduced, our heartfulness introduced a set of modern day practices that allow us to develop all 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga simultaneously. And these, without any effort, we can achieve all these 8. Okay, of course, heartfulness practices, very simple practices with relaxation, meditation, cleaning, and inner connect. So these things will be taken care by our sister in the session, right? Now, finally, when we go meditation indeed, the final state is we will observe, we will deeply observe in the condition that state is called samadhi state. Okay, here one enjoys eternal bliss. Here, when you are in the samadhi state, you see you are doing all your activities, but you are connected with the source inside you. Okay, you are complete, you are having complete awareness. Okay, that is what the result of this samadhi. It is like a stone-like condition. Okay, so where you are having complete awareness, you are doing all your activities, still at the same time you are connected with your source. Okay, so these are the 8 important 8 limbs of this yoga, which is given by Patanjali Maharshi. Of course, this is the message given by our Indian Prime Minister in the day of yoga. Okay, please take 1 minute and go through this message. Okay, so anyhow, I will provide this presentation to you. You go through that because we have short of time. So finally, we are from Heartfulness. Okay, so this Heartfulness Institute is a global and a non-profit organization. So with the mission of uplifting the hearts of the communities served, the ever-expanding Heartfulness community is now with over 1 million of practitioners, million volunteers, coaches, and trainers in 140 plus countries across the world, touching almost 20 million us so far. So it has no religious associations or inclinations, and it offers simple practices that can be taken up by anyone over age of 15. So Heartfulness is a non-profit organization. All services are offered are free of cost. So I have listed here some of the Heartfulness programs we offer. That is C Connect, U Connect. C Connect is for corporate connect, University Connect, Government Connect, Village Connect. We have different programs. We have designed different programs which are suited to a particular group. And Kaushalam, it is for a program for CEOs and the top level bureaucrats. Okay, so I am very much thankful for giving this wonderful opportunity on the day of yoga. So what I have given is a surface knowledge. So you at least it will give some awareness. What is yoga? What are the different elements? What are the different limbs available? You see, each element is a huge ocean. Lot of knowledge is there, and we have to. In fact, it takes years to get mastery over this. Of course, this will give you a just like impression that okay, we have to go to this yoga, we have to practice this yoga every day. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a inspiring talk, and making us all aware like what are the different aspects of yoga, and hopefully, definitely, our students and faculty who are in the call, can dig deeper and to gain a better understanding of the different aspects of yoga. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I would like to introduce C.S. Srinivas Rao Garu. He's also a Heartfulness meditation trainer with over 30 plus years of experience in this meditation practice, and he is here with us to demonstrate some pranayama exercises. Over to you, Srinivas Rao Garu.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Venkata Garu, respected elders and students, good evening, everyone. Namaste. Human lung size is like a long tennis court size. Human lungs is very big. Number of air sacs in human lung is nearly 60 crores. 60 crores air sacs. They are air bags are there in human lung. Unfortunately, we are using 30% of our lung capacity. This is like example, if you run a drive our two-wheeler or four-wheeler with 30% of the air, how that vehicle's efficiency and longevity, like that. According to Darwin's theory of evolution, survival for the fitness. Nowadays, this COVID period, fitness and fitness, it is improving the immune system. It is the very important thing. And the benefits of when we take the benefits of pranayama, mainly it will improve our energy levels. Mainly it will improve our energy levels, and basically our human body is acidic in nature. It will, when we do the pranayama, just 30 minutes or 20 minutes, then it will shift to the alkaline mode. And another thing is the main important thing is our most of the especially students or many all other our nervous system is a sympathetic mode. When we practice this pranayama, it will shift it to the parasympathetic mode. The main aim of this pranayama is chitta-vritti nirodhaka. That means the monkey mind, regulation of the monkey mind to the balanced state. That is the main goal of this pranayama. And one way it is greater than exercise, because it will improve our physical health as well as mental health, emotional health, and it is even it is genetically also. Genetically also, if you see in this in scientific research in curing this cancer and heart problems and A to Z, many problems in epigenetic level also, this pranayama, it has a main role. There are different types of pranayama. Now I am to demonstrate main pranayama techniques. First one is Kapalabhati pranayama. Here in this Kapalabhati pranayama, we have to mainly exhalation part only, main thing. We have to focus on exhalation only. Inhalation is automatic and it is natural. I will demonstrate. If possible, you also please do this technique. This is Kapalabhati pranayama. The benefits of Kapalabhati pranayama is this entire digestive tract involved in this Kapalabhati pranayama, starting from esophagus to this entire digestive part. It is especially it is useful for this curing, healing this cold, cough, digestion, diabetes, and this cholesterol, reducing the LDL cholesterol, and it is very much useful for diabetes. Like this, many benefits are there in the this Kapalabhati pranayama. The next one is Bhastrika pranayama. In this previous one is the difference between Kapalabhati and Bhastrika pranayama is here both exhalation and inhalation both we have to do simultaneously. Inhalation Actively, we have to inhale. Actively, we have to exhale. I will demonstrate. You also participate. This is known as Bhastrika Pranayama. In this, by doing this, practicing this Bhastrika Pranayama, entire respiratory system involved in this pranayama. Especially, it is useful for this healing this respiratory disorders, and it will calms your mind, and especially this increasing this oxygen level. Bhastrika, that is Bhastrika Pranayama. Then third one is this alternate breathing, also known as Anulom Vilom. This is the king of pranayama because it will affect our entire circulatory system and as well as our nervous system also. First one is Kapalabhati, that if you have any BP and heart problem persons, they have to do slowly. Bhastrika also we have to do slowly. Whereas this Anulom Vilom, everyone can practice. This is also known as the alternative breathing. Another name for this Anulom Vilom Pranayama is Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. It purifies all nervous system. This we have to inhale through the left nostril and exhale through the right nostril. Again, we have to inhale through the right nostril. Again, through the exhale through the left nostril. This is one round. Like this, we have to repeat this one. Again, I will show you, please. This Anulom Vilom Pranayama, it is very much useful for reducing the blood pressure, and especially it is very useful for heart elements also, heart problems. And final one is this Brahmari Pranayama. Especially this one is very much useful for students because the memory power, concentration levels, memory power increases. And recently, World Health Organization, they declared that by doing this Brahmari Pranayama, our brain, our system, it produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is antiviral. It has antiviral element. Till now, there is no medicine, direct medicine for our this viral diseases like cold or AIDS, like that. This, by practicing this Brahmari Pranayama, this nitric oxide, it heals, it has this antiviral property. It also reduces our stress, and it is very much useful for insomnia, and it will heal so many nervous problems. Brahmari Pranayama. How to practice this Brahmari Pranayama means we have to close our ears and ears with the thumb and take a deep breath, and by doing like some, that is a humming sound, like a honeybee, we have to exhale like using that sound, humming sound. Take deep breath and close your ears. Like this, we have to practice this Brahmari Pranayama. It will take entire this pranayama session. If you practice, we have to practice this pranayama with the empty stomach. Especially, it is very useful during the morning time. This is these are the main. There are so many types pranayama techniques. These are the main, because we have this time problem. These are the main pranayama techniques. If you practice this pranayama techniques, it is especially during this our pandemic time. We have this main oxygen problem. It will increase this oxygen levels. If you practice 10 minutes, this any pranayama technique, and if you test with the oximeter, definitely it will touch, it will go to 98 or 99 like that. It is very much useful. So use or lose. So we have to daily practice this pranayama and some yoga techniques, and we have to improve this. We can develop our immune system very well. Thank you very much giving this opportunity to this entire SRM entire SRM team. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Srinivas Garu, for demonstrating and also giving us the background behind pranayama. And the use or lose thing was very nice. So I think all of us should practice pranayama at least 10 minutes a day, as you mentioned, to increase our lung capacity and also improve our immunity. Thank you, sir. So next in the program is relaxation and meditation session. So we have with us Harshada Kulkarni, and she is into design strategy consulting, and she also manages her healthcare business. And as you all know, she is a visiting faculty at SRM University in the Department of IDEA. She is also a certified trainer of heartfulness meditation, and she has conducted several workshops in corporate offices, universities, and institutes. So may we all welcome Harshada Kulkarni for giving us relaxation and meditation session. Over to you, Harshada.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm privileged to be with all of you. Thank you, Professor V.S. Rao, VC sir, and Pro VC sir. I'm just happy to be witnessing your presence in this session. And I hope all of us, even though it's been quite some time, we went through this session. I hope all of us are okay to meditate for another 15 minutes. So quickly, I'll tell you what we are going to do. I'll walk us all through relaxation. I'll give you relaxation instructions. The relaxation is only for the body. So once our body is relaxed, our mind is able to relax better. So the first step would be relaxation, just for about 5 minutes or so. And then I will tell you to meditate. And then I will go quiet. I will meditate with you. And then I'll tell you to come out of it. That's the structure for next 15 minutes, if you are with me. So how do we meditate? We are going to, when I tell you to start meditation, please make a supposition that there's source of light within your heart. And we sit with this supposition. When the mind wanders, and if it wanders, just gently bring it back to where your focus is. So please don't fight your thought. Gently bring your mind back to where your focus is, and it has to be a very natural process. So relax. I'm just going to walk you through the meditation. I hope all of you can stay. So please sit comfortably. Close your eyes gently and softly. Let us begin the relaxation, starting with your toes. Gently wiggle your toes. and feel them relaxed. Feel that the healing energy from Mother Earth is entering your feet and is relaxing your feet and ankles. Allow this energy to move up to your knees, relaxing the calf muscles and your knees. Allow this energy to move up to your thighs and the hip area, deeply relaxing every muscle. The energy moves to your stomach, relaxing the abdominal muscles. Moving up to your chest area, relaxing your chest. With every breath that you exhale, you are relaxing more and more. Allow this energy to move to your back, relaxing your entire back. Each muscle in your back is now relaxed. Energy moves to your hands, relaxing the upper arms, forearms, arms, all the way up to the fingertips. Now relax your shoulders. Feel that your shoulders are simply melting away. Feel that effect of melting and weightlessness of your body. While you allow the energy to move up to your neck, relaxing the neck muscles. Slowly moving up to your facial area, relaxing your jaw, mouth, earlobes, nose, eyes, and the forehead, all the way up to the top of your head. Feel how your entire body is immersed in the healing energy and is relaxed. Now we are ready for meditation. Please bring your awareness to your heart. The source of light, which is already present in your heart, is illuminating it from within and is pulling your entire attention inward. During meditation, stay there. Remain absorbed in the love and light within your heart. And if your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Please start meditation. That's all. Please keep your eyes closed for 30 seconds and note how you're feeling at this moment. Once you feel ready, gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Harshada, for such a nice relaxation and meditation session. I think all the attendees, participants also would have experienced firsthand how a session of meditation would be. Now, I request Revati ma'am to give the vote of thanks.
I think, Venkat sir, you're still in a bliss after that wonderful relaxation and meditation session by Harshada. It was truly wonderful. Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, the guest of the day, thank you so very much for making this happen. And not to forget our Venkat sir, who was instrumental to bring it all together. And thank you all for joining, all the faculty members, staff members, and the students who joined in today's session. Thank you, everyone.